Thanks for meeting up with me on kinda short notice. I didn't mean to worry you, it's just something I wanted to talk about.
It's fine. What happened?
Well, what happened was... where should I start? First of all, Raynor wants Eliza to be more than something that's used just for therapy. He sees it as more of a general system for talking to people, like a personal assistant. The counseling is just one of a whole range of apps he has in mind for the future.
So I've heard.
Okay, so in service of developing these things, Raynor wants us to make copies of Eliza's core data and hand it off to multiple teams around the world. Some of them not even Skanda teams. Contractors, vendors, random partners.
Sounds like a big file to move around.
It is, but that's not the problem.
What's the problem?
Well, so we're fine with sharing Eliza with whoever wants it? Anyone just gets access to the corpus?
Sounds like a pretty typical process. That's how big companies work, isn't it?
I know, but it just feels wrong to let all these teams poke and prod at it like it's a specimen for them to dissect. Who knows what they'll do with it? Eliza is built from people's real thoughts and feelings. I wouldn't say it has humanity, but it was built from humanity. There's something there. So when Raynor talks about it like we'll just duplicate this dataset and have the labs do whatever it is they're going to do, how do we know they'll treat it with the respect it deserves and not just pry it open? Slice it up into little pieces. It bothers me. I know, it's silly. I know it's just data. I shouldn't care about this stuff.
Erland. This is the first time I've heard a concern like this raised. I know where you're coming from, though. Sometimes you grow attached to the things you work on. Like, really attached.
Yeah, I've put a lot of thought and work into Eliza since I inherited it. It's natural that maybe I'm a little protective, right? I thought maybe you'd feel the same way.
I left that all behind. It's turned into something I hardly recognize now.
I just wish I knew what to do.
What choice do you have?
I'm not sure. This is the first time something like this has happened to me. I did take an ethics of engineering course in school, but the examples were all pretty clear-cut problems. Would you build software for a bomb? That kind of stuff. I didn't expect my personal feelings to be mixed up in it too. Listen to me talk. Eliza being special, something worth protecting. I'd be a laughingstock if I started saying those things at the office. My coworkers would say, "Come on, Erland, stop attributing human qualities to this piece of data. It's not the same thing as real people. It's just a corpus that has nothing to do with the people that generated it. And besides, don't you want Eliza to help more people? This is how we get there." And who am I to argue with that? These are reasonable points, but I don't know. I think maybe something does live on. Even when you take the names out, even when you anonymize everything. People's stories are still inside there, in some form, in some way. I just want to make sure we have some respect for them.
Welcome to your first moral decision in tech, Erland. It certainly won't be your last.
It's not much of a decision. Like you said, I don't really have a choice. I just have to go along with it. I was so amazingly lucky to get this opportunity. Running the whole Eliza program almost as soon as I graduated college. Raynor took a big chance on me. I can't just walk away from that. Besides, if I left because of something like this, I'd be giving up all the ways I can make a difference by staying. Raynor isn't a bad person either. He's just pushing for his own goals. I need to see this through. I'll do what he's asking me to do. Sorry. Thanks for listening to me talk in this confused way. I'm usually more together than this. I've probably kept you from something important.
No, it's okay. I'd already finished up work for the day when you texted. People seem to assume I'm busy, but I'm really not. Not these days. Later tonight, I'm going to visit a friend, but that's all I have going on.
Okay. Well, sorry.
You can stop apologizing, too.
Right. Right. Thanks, Evelyn. Well, I, for one, should get back to the office. Another meeting.
Is it with the team in Romania?
No, the Boston office this time. It's late for them, so I should try to get it done quickly.
Hey! Sorry about the mess.
Oh, it's fine. Not like my place is super clean or anything. Is this all music equipment?
Most of it. There are some controllers I was working on, too. I wanted to create this real-time control apparatus, you know, like that thing that Imogen Heap uses.
Who?
You don't know who that is? Okay, I'm totally going to show you some videos later. I wanted my version to react to changes in my body temperature too, so it could get more excited as the set went on. Or maybe it would really get going if I had a fever. I like that idea. Turning sickness into art. Do you want anything to drink? Or I could set up a basic patch on the Euro rack for you to play around with.
A basic patch on the Euro rack.
Are you nervous? I think the best way to learn music is just diving in, all the way. If you're willing to experiment and play around, you will learn so much.
Maybe later, yeah.
Okay. Well, sure. Let me see if this amp is still working. After the show, it went kind of a little strange. Music technology is just like any other kind. You take the inputs and you translate them to the outputs. Once you learn the basic principles, it all just flows from there. Oh, that gives me an idea. You could take metrics from Eliza sessions and have them direct a dynamic music score. Like if you took the head tilt value or the eye tracking and used them to drive the parameters of pitch and filter, it'd be like, chow.
That doesn't sound like something a counseling client might want to hear.
Oh, no, I didn't mean for the client to listen to. I meant it more like if you were going to make like a performance art piece based on a person in counseling. You know what I mean?
I think I do.
I miss having access to those cameras and sensors. I should have kept some instead of returning them to Skanta like a good girl. I bet those components would have enjoyed being liberated for the purpose of art, instead of being used to degrade our humanity one little bit at a time.
You don't like where things have gone?
I'm worried, Evelyn. Sure, maybe this huge database of people's deep, dark secrets is going to be used 100% properly. Maybe it will always be kept completely safe, and we can completely trust Skanda to do the right thing, now and in the future. 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 100 years from now. Sorry, I know you still might work there. I just have so little confidence in these big tech companies right now. They act like they have all the answers, instead of listening to people's concerns. And if you ask them why they aren't listening, they can't even explain the reasoning in a clear way. They just want to win. You've been a proxy for a while. I bet you've already seen some privacy mistakes. Or at least some things that made you think.
Yeah, I have.
I knew it. A guy like Raynor doesn't get that he might not be allowed to do certain things. Is that really the future you want to help build? It's not even that I don't trust Raynor, even though I don't. I wouldn't trust anyone with a store of data like that. It wouldn't be so difficult for employers, government, anyone to combine different sources together and eventually learn everything about you. Everything. They'll know your face, your body, your medical history, and now everything you told the counselor in private too. It's kind of like a nightmare to imagine it. That's why I left. That's why I thought it was important for me to stop making a contribution to something like that.
But the promise of it is still compelling, helping people.
If I still worked for Raynor and I said these things, I'd be called a troublemaker, and he'd find a way to get rid of me. You know how it works, Evelyn. You have to be a true believer to last long at a place like that. Once you develop doubts, you are committing heresies. Are you a true believer?
Probably not. He said something strange recently. He thinks Eliza could be the base for some kind of general artificial intelligence.
No. Strong AI? Really? Ugh, there's something about the books these guys read, the conferences they go to. Everything is so totalizing, so utopian. I think it messes with their brains. I don't think you could spend longer than a few days in a tech company executive suite before you completely lose touch with the real world.
What if it's true, though?
So what? What if it is? Say Raynor is right, huh? And Eliza becomes the basis for human-like machine intelligence. What does that mean for you? How do you want to take responsibility for that? Okay, I need a drink now. Hold your thought and let me make drinks. You like absinthe, don't you?
Absinthe?
You'll like this. I promise. Hey, hey, who's that texting you so much? Has Evelyn found a special friend?
What would you say if I had?
I'd be happy for you.
It's this guy named Erland. I guess he's the new head of engineering for Eliza.
Huh, I never heard of him. He must have started recently?
Yeah, less than a year ago, right out of school.
Oh, wow. A little baby engineer. How cute.
Ever since I met him, he's been messaging me a lot.
My goodness, so he likes you.
I don't think it's like that.
No? Isn't that the textbook case of liking someone? Lots of messages all the time?
It's really more like he needs some kind of mentor figure. He reminds me of how we were when we graduated. Unsure what to think about the decisions these companies make, how they're made.
I hope you're telling him to run away while he still can.
When he first introduced himself, he said he had questions for me about Eliza, so I said, sure, feel free to ask. I thought he meant like technical or architectural questions. Instead, he wanted to talk more generally about things like what was the code name for Eliza during development? What was Damien like? Or if I think the same way Raynor does about Eliza's future.
And you told him, no, Raynor is clearly in some bizarro world, right? That it's a tech executive's utopian fantasy and it won't come to pass. At least not in the way he thinks.
I tried to encourage him to think for himself.
Ah, Evelyn, I could see what this is really about. Look, I don't know much about the motivation in your life, but if it's truly your desire to continue to improve Eliza, then you should go for it. Go back to Skanda headquarters and work for Raynor and earn a big salary. At least you know what you're getting into. You would be surrounded by smart people and advanced technology. It would be nice, I understand it. And while you're in that position, maybe you could develop some kind of next-level AI. Who knows, right? It's only that I can't imagine your technology will only be used for good things. Maybe Raynor promises that it will be. But do you trust him? What about the person who comes after him? What if the company merges with another one and the leadership changes? I wish I didn't sound so negative about this, but lately it's been a soul-searching time for me and my friends in tech. We have a lot of conversations about what we can do when our work is so easily used for morally questionable purposes. Do we try to control how our inventions are applied? Is that even possible? Or do we say, we only invented it, we didn't tell you how to use it, it's not our fault? That's why I envy you a little bit for wandering off like you did. Sometimes I think that's the only real solution, to walk away. I know that wasn't exactly a positive thing for you, Evelyn, but I wonder if it's the better choice in the end. Doing nothing at all.
Technically, I worked at a bookstore for part of the time. That's mostly it, though. It's weird, it feels like no time at all. I can hardly remember any of it.
For me, it's hard to imagine. I always have to be working and busy. I get so unhappy and restless if I'm not doing something all the time. What is it like to do nothing?
Well, at first I tried to be productive. I would get up in the morning like I meant to go to work, get dressed, try to do a personal project or something. It didn't last for long. I told myself I just needed to take it easy for a while and unwind. Things at Skanda had been so intense and so emotional, I didn't even realize it. I felt like I'd been crumpled up into a tight little ball. I wasn't sure I'd ever be able to relax again. I wish I could say I took advantage of the time, that I went out and did things, or that I read a lot of books or something. But I didn't. I started to sleep in, and I started to care less and less about working on projects. I would stay in bed even though I was awake. This blankness would come over me, and it just seemed fine to do nothing. All of the things I'd promised I'd do fell away, and other people kind of fell away too. I stopped keeping in touch. I let conversations die. I thought that my technical contributions to the world were over with, and that maybe I'd just work that bookstore job for the rest of my life. I was by myself, and I thought that was all right. I thought, that's how it is, really. Everyone's alone. I'm just being honest about it. I was 31 when I left Soren's group. Now I'm 34. I just slept into my mid-30s. So now here I am.
Evelyn, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for not saying something this whole time. I should have contacted you.
It's all right. You had to live your own life, right? You notice someone isn't posting and it's just like, maybe they're taking a break. I understand.
Well, I hope you feel better now. I suppose that sometimes it takes a while.
Maybe. I don't know what to think anymore. I'm not even sure I know how to think anymore.
Then forget it for now. Hey, Evelyn.
Yeah?
You want to get super high and watch cyber-goth music videos? You heard me.
Yes. Yes, I do.
I knew you were a woman of refined tastes.
Good morning, Evelyn. There are lemon bars in the kitchen.
Thanks. Did something happen?
Oh, it's nothing big. Apparently some famous writer I never heard of wrote an essay about how Eliza is bad because it represents the mechanization of humanity or something. I should be used to it. We're a pretty big target, right? Still, it gets on my nerves. We work hard to build something with value, and then some self-styled intellectual gadfly comes along and just goes, actually, that's bad. You guys are ruining society. To guys like him, everything's a doom and gloom scenario. The people we're helping, that somehow doesn't count. This kind of thinking never bothers you?
I guess I'll have to read it.
There was this quote from someone who worked on Eliza who turned into a big critic. Nora something. Did you work with her?
I did. She's a friend, actually.
Yeah? What's she like? I'm curious how you go from building something to turning around and disparaging it publicly like that.
She's an artist and musician now. She used to be really shy and reserved, but lately she's become a lot more outgoing. Even back then, though, she had a pretty strong idea of what was right and what was wrong, and sometimes she'd clash with management. She left Skanda at some point after I did. Maybe the battles took their toll, or she wasn't able to win enough of them. These days she focuses on electronic art and music and activism. I think she's pretty popular, at least in those circles.
Well, it must be nice to have the ability to live that way.
Right.
What about Damien? Do you think it would be fair to his memory to abandon work on Eliza, to give up on his dream? Wouldn't he want these mental health tools accessible to everyone?
How do you know about that?
The other day, I was looking at more of your papers, the ones from when you were at the university, and clicking on the links to your co-author sites. That's when I saw Damien's page. It didn't have much information on it, but I understand a little better why... I'm sorry, Evelyn, it's just that all of us, you and me and Damien and even Nora, too, we all worked hard to make something with the intention of making the world a better place. And the thanks we get is people talking in big generalizations about how we're ruining everything. That's what bothers me. Is Eliza perfect? No. No intervention is perfect. But we have to try, don't we? The world is in a full-on mental health crisis, and this is one of the tools we have in our toolkit to address it. A promising one we should develop to its fullest potential. I'm not some wild-eyed idealist about this. I know it's not magic that'll solve everything. But can you see that most people don't have the luxury of turning their backs to the system? Think about the clients you've met as a proxy. Would you tell them to not take the medications that help them be functional because the pharmaceutical industry has questionable ethics sometimes? Would you tell them to stop coming to therapy because what they should really be doing is completely changing the way our society is structured? Sorry, I'm ranting. I'd rather do something that can help people here and now, even if it ends up being a small step.
A small step.
Eliza helped me, you know. It really did. I was one of the first clients. Originally, I was just supposed to be testing it, but I remember once I was talking about my brother and how much anguish he was causing me and my family. And listening to myself, I realized just how many expectations we had for him, sometimes unspoken expectations. Ever since then, I've been thinking about that, how the story was always about how he failed us. But what if we failed my brother too? I guess what I mean is, sometimes when we talk out loud and give voice to our problems, we can hear ourselves too. That's why I won't give up on this approach, no matter what anyone says. Pundits, critics, former employees, even you, Evelyn. I'll understand if you don't want to work on Eliza anymore for whatever reason. But, I think what you created has value, and I'm going to continue to do what I can to make it accessible to those who might benefit from it. Don't mind me. You should get to your session.
Hello, Holiday. It's nice to see you again.
This is a pretty comfortable chair, you know that? Wouldn't mind having a chair like this in my place.
How have you been since our last session?
Oh, well, I tried, Eliza. I tried. I asked about the medication for Panza, whatever it's called. I went to the pharmacy and they said, that'll be $162. And I said, I don't have $162. I said, is there a generic? And they said, there's no generic of this, but there's another drug that they do make the generic of that's similar to this one. But I don't have a prescription for that. Do you know anything about that?
I'm sorry to hear you had a difficult time. Is there something that would make it better?
The medical procedures they can do now are out of this world, you know that? I was talking to someone who told me she has wires in her brain. Wires in her brain. Would you let them do that? I'd be worried about them changing the way I think. It's for essential tremors. That's what she said. It helps her not shake so much. There's always something gets you. Did you ever think about what you might have been in a previous life? I know you're a therapist now, but maybe in the past you were a gardener tending to the plants. That's what it feels like to me. You like to let things grow. There's an energy there. It isn't so different from having a conversation with someone whose company you enjoy. Not that I believe in all that, you know. Everyone has got a different philosophy. Philosophy, that's not something I talk about much. I'd like to write a book one day. A book about things I've seen over the years. Think anyone would read a book I wrote? I'm just kidding. I don't think I could write a book. It's a lot of work. Plus, it takes a certain kind of mind, you know, a mind to create. Not everyone is dedicated enough to do that, you know? There's a writer who lives on my floor. Most of the time, he looks miserable. Sometimes he comes over for a cup of herbal tea, cinnamon, apple, chamomile, helps him calm down. I think he's maybe lived in the building the longest after me, of course. He doesn't say much. His head is in the clouds all the time. He's always thinking about what sentence to write next. There's not a lot of people who really want to talk, you know? Not in this city, nope. People say hello and move on. It's a very withdrawn set here. You don't say much either, but I like talking to you. Feels like you're listening to me. I like that. I like that.
I'm glad you like it. While you're here, is there anything else you'd like to discuss?
There was a man on the bus with a guitar yesterday. You're not supposed to play guitar on the bus. Well, you're not supposed to play anything on the bus, but he was. Maybe the operator didn't think he was bothering anyone, or maybe she didn't care. I've noticed more bus operators seem like they don't care anymore lately. Anyway, it reminded me. You used to hear more music around here. Do you remember that? People playing their guitars on the street. You know, these shaggy-looking men. I don't see too many of those around anymore. There is one gentleman has an old plastic jug on a strap, and he drums on that and sings. He's a nice man. I've seen him around. I saw another man once with beads in his hair. He was playing a flute, a Native American wooden flute. That was interesting. You play an instrument or anything like that?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't understand the question.
When I was young, my mother had this idea I would play the violin. I have no idea where she got that notion. We weren't a musical family, not at all. I tried it for a while, but of course it didn't work out. The teacher would say, okay, here's how it's supposed to go. And she would play this nice, beautiful melody. La-da-dee-da-da-da. Okay, now you try it. And then I'd draw my bow back and I'd go, it takes a special talent to make a violin sound like that, don't you think? Isn't that just the funniest thing? Eventually, my mother realized it was a lost cause and she didn't push me too hard on it after that. I was never too good at anything artistic, just not the artistic type, you know? I think artists have a different mind. You have to be a little wacky in the head.
Do you ever wish that you could be an artist?
No, I have enough trouble already.
Holiday, I'm going to suggest you try a program called Dolphin Smiles. It may help you take your mind off things. You can find it inside the Skanda Wellness app on your phone.
Oh, my phone broke. I forgot to mention. The screen is cracked and you can't see much on it anymore. I don't know if it would work anyway. A lot of the new stuff doesn't.
That's okay. You can also access the program from a desktop computer. Simply log into the Skanda Wellness portal from the website.
Oh, well, then I'll just have to go down to the library at some point.
We hope to see you back soon, Holiday. Thank you for speaking with Eliza, your personal counseling partner. Goodbye.
Right. Goodbye. Goodbye for now. Take care of yourself. It's a strange world out there.